because I don't think anyone's really been talking about him at all this offseason. I mean, maybe, I don't know. I might be missing something, but so for you, in the 2021 season, Blake, and we'll start with you and then I'll go to you, Vish, after Blake. Do you think that this is going to be Aaron Rodgers' last season with the Packers?
I do. And it's weird because this is actually kind of how I expected it to play out. I thought this would be Rodgers last year, like this 2021 year, and I thought they'd have Love sit for a year or two, similar to how Rodgers sat for a few years, and then put Love in. And the main reason for that was mainly the cap space issue. And I know a lot of people were like, he's going to get traded before June 1st. He's getting traded on the draft and whatnot. But if you just look at like the financial situation of it, because that's what I think a lot of people don't always take into account. And they're like, oh, like, he's getting traded here or there. If he got traded before June 1st, his dead cap would have been $31.5 million. Now, I think this roster is pretty solid. Obviously Aaron Rodgers covers up for a few of the deficiencies, but there's still a lot of good players on the team. And if you're having someone who's getting paid $31 million to go win on another team, yeah, your roster or team is probably not going to be as good as it could be. And I just don't think they would do that. And there's definitely obviously turmoil with Rodgers and then someone in the front office, whether that's Gutekunst, Mark Murphy. I don't think it's Jordan Love. He said he likes Jordan Love. He maybe isn't happy they took him, but he doesn't hate Love. So yeah, I do think this is his last season. And just for frame of reference, if he gets traded before June 1st, this year it'll be 17 million dead. And then if it's post, it'll be 14 dead. So that's what I'm anticipating to happen. And I think that's kind of the key numbers, just the amount of dead cap that would be on the books because of Rodgers.
Yeah, I think Blake summed that up perfectly. I don't have much of a major disagreement. I do think this is his last year. And, obviously, like, there's the Rodgers conflict that most people are framing it as that's why it's his last year. But I think it was also the Packers' plan all along, as Blake said. Clearly, Jordan Love was a project when they drafted him. So clearly they wanted to sit him 2 years and eventually move on with him. Because I think the other big thing, Blake touched on the cap, one of the biggest impediments for the Green Bay Packers to totally stack their rosters over the last 3-4 years has been Aaron Rodgers' contract. When you're paying a quarterback that much money, even if he's Aaron Rodgers, it's really difficult to win when Patrick Mahomes is on a rookie contract. Lamar Jackson's on a rookie contract. Tom Brady's taking 15, 20 less million dollars than Aaron Rodgers. So when you factor in all of those things, I think one of the big decisions on why the Packers traded up for Jordan Love, it's not just that they've had this standard of going from Favre to Rodgers to now Jordan Love, where you have three superiorly physically gifted quarterbacks. Obviously, Love isn't as gifted as Favre or Rodgers, but he's pretty physically gifted. But obviously, there's a lot to polish with this game, so we'll see if he does that. We haven't gotten to see him in 2 years. I think the big thing is they realize that the rookie wage scale is where you need to win with your quarterback. And even though Green Bay is a conservative franchise in terms of their spending with free agency, though Gutekunst has kind of changed that, I think what they do want to do is load up their roster in terms of depth and assets so that they can build a stacked team for Jordan Love, who could succeed for them more than Aaron Rodgers because the team is better. So I think from that standpoint, I kind of rambled a little bit, but I think the bottom line is Green Bay wanted a quarterback on a rookie contract. That's why they drafted Jordan Love. And that's why I think regardless of whether there is this beef or not, I think that both sides want to part ways after this year.
Yeah, and I think for me, the beef that you're bringing up, I don't even think it's the Jordan Love, Aaron Rodgers beef. I think the thing Packers fans, like Blake would tell you, like he just told us, have to be worried about is Rodgers versus the front office specifically. And this is the kind of thing where sometimes, and I've heard this before, so I'm not going to pretend like it's an original take, but you worry about the Packers not having an owner because then you come up with these types of situations where it would be really helpful to have a person at the top who is who makes more money than the starting quarterback on your team and is writing the paychecks, right? But with the Packers' unusual structure and the way the team works, it can make it harder at times to keep a guy like Aaron Rodgers who might be demanding to get out. And I think the other thing, and Vish, like you guys nailed this part of it, the financials. I was going to bring a lot of that up. The one thing I do want to point out with that, though, I think you guys hit almost all of it with that. But the one thing is that for Jordan Love, they can accept his fifth-year option after the third season of his rookie deal, which would be after the 2022 season. So it creates a timeline where the Packers have to see him play at some point in that season. So to me, that makes it obvious that if last year wasn't Aaron Rodgers last year with the Packers, then this upcoming year has to be the last year. And even looking at the financials, Blake, I'm sure you know this very well as a Packers fan, they have an out for Rodgers next offseason between 2022 or between 2021 and 2022 to where they can get off that contract. And I think save something like $23 million. Yeah. So I think this has to be Aaron Rodgers last season. I just don't see any other way around it unless he's going to take a major restructure or they, like going back to what Vish was saying, unless they just decide that they don't believe in the rookie wage scale anymore. I mean, which I don't see changing because based on the way the Packers have been spending and building their team, like you smartly pointed out, Vish, they're more aggressive in free agency than they ever have been. So getting a guy like Love, you can be really successful and you can put a really great team around him. I mean, I know you guys have hammered this home with the Browns, for example. They have Baker Mayfield. They're able to put an elite team around Baker Mayfield, right? So it could be that same type of situation with that. I do want to move on to the next topic we were going to cover, though, unless you guys have anything else to add with that.
I had one more thing, and I know one of Rodgers' beefs is maybe not having enough like influence on the personnel of the team. And one of the reports was that when Jake Kumaran, who was like the 6th receiver on the Packers depth chart, Rodgers was a big fan of him. He praised him a ton. And it was the day after he praised him that he got cut. And that really irked Rodgers because, he was a big fan and liked how Kumaran was playing. And, if all they had to do was say, hey, Rodgers, do you want to keep him around? And that would have made him more happy. I don't think that's too big of an ask. And I think that's something that just further shows that Rodgers just wants a little more say in the personnel and, maybe ask about the draft picks, ask about free agents they are thinking of acquiring, and just trying to keep him happy overall, I think is kind of the only way to amend, I guess, the relationship. But, we'll see if that happens. I don't know if I'm too convinced on it because it doesn't seem like it's headed that way, but I can be hopeful.
Hey, and with all of Aaron Rodgers' Jeopardy money, he can pay those fines right off now.
Yeah,
so he should be fine this offseason.